everyone. Welcome back. In the last module, which is module number 9, we discussed about the concepts of FHRP and the HSRP protocols, why we need FHRP, and also we discussed about functionality of HSRP. So in this, I'm going to demonstrate the packet tracer activity, which is 9.3.3, where we get to work with HSRP and also observe how the election process takes place and how we can actually create FHRP to provide that redundancy if a default gateway router fails. So let's check it out. Please download PT activity 9.3.3 and open it up. This is the PT activity. I downloaded it and then I opened it. So you can see here there are some. We have been given an addressing table. We have R1, R2, R3, 3 routers, 2 switches S1 and S2, and an internet INET, and then a web server. Also in the addressing table, we have been given about a HSRP virtual gateway, and we have been given an address for that also. So the INET router is present in the internet cloud and cannot be accessed in this activity. Okay, fine. So in the objectives, what we are trying to do here is, in the packet tracer activity, you will learn how to configure the hot standby router protocol HSRP to provide redundant default gateway devices to host on LANs. After configuring HSRP, you will test the configuration to verify that hosts are able to use the redundant gateway, default gateway, if the current gateway device becomes unavailable. So basically speaking, we are trying to implement HSRP and to verify whether HSRP is working properly or not. That's all. So configure an HSRP active router, configure an HSRP standby router, and then verify the operation. So that's what we are going to do. So I'm going to go into the instructions part. Okay. So in the instructions, first verify connectivity. It is asking me trace the path to the web server from PCA. Okay, where is PCA? This is PCA. So let me click on PCA and let me start working on it. So PCA is here, and go to command prompt, and it is asking me to enter the command trace route 209.155.200.226, enter. Okay, fine. So let it complete. It is asking me trace the path from PCA to the web server. Okay, execute this command. Then which devices are on the path from PCA to the web server? Use the addressing table to determine the device. Okay, in that case, you can go here. So 192.168.1.1, which is the R1. So PCA goes to R1, and then 10.1.1.2, which is R2. So the trace route has shown that from PCA to R1, R1 to R2, and then 10.100.100.2, which is your INET router, which is inside the internet. So to the internet and then to the web server. We need to do the same trace route from PCB as well. So let me copy this command and I'll type it in, copy on PCB also. So PCB, go to command prompt and paste. Okay. So we need to see what are the devices that are part of this particular trace route from PCB to the web server. So it goes through 192.168.1.3, which should be R3. So it's first R3, then R2, then the internet, and then to the web server. Okay, first that's done. Okay, that is done for now. So it is asking me now observe the network behavior when R3 becomes unavailable. So if R3 goes, what is going to do? So for that, we are going to simulate a link disruption. So select the delete tool from the packet tracer toolbar and delete the link between R3 and S3. Now, if you can see here on the top, this is where your tool is provided, the delete tool, which looks like a backspace button. So just go to here, click on the delete tool. You can see your cursor has now changed into an X mark. So go to the link between R3 and S3. Go to the link between R3 and S3 and click on that. So it will automatically be removed. Just press escape to come out of from there. And now it is asking me, I removed the link between R3 and S3. Open a command prompt on PCB, execute the tracer command with the web server as a destination. That means I'm going to run the same thing again. So I'm running the same thing again. Let me see how it happens. So open a command prompt. Compare the current output with the output of the command from step 2. Okay, let it run. So request timed out. it doesn't go because the link has been gone. Now PCB's lost connectivity with the outside world because the link from R3 to S3 has been cut off. Request has been timed out. Okay. Click the connections icon in the lower left corner of the PT window. Locate and select the copper straight through cable icon in the palette. Now that means what we are trying to do here is we just simulated a link failure between R3 and S3. Now the trace route is not working. That means PCB does not have a path to go to the web server. Now what if I restore the connection again? So for that reason, let me just finish this off. Let it complete, and then what I will do is, okay. So this is what it's not working. So what I will do is I will go here. I will select this connection button. This is here. So go here, select the black one, which is the copper straight through cable. Click on that. There are given commands here. So click on S3, go to the gigabit Ethernet 0x2 port here. Click on, after clicking on S3, click on that. Then go to R3. R3, there is also another gigabit Ethernet port here, G0x0. Click on that. And in order to fast forward this, to make sure there is a fast forward button towards your bottom left hand corner. Just click on the fast forward button. So now the lights on the link, or the link lights, will both flash green now. Now after this happens, just run the same command again on PCB. It should work. There you go. Now it's working properly. Okay, now it is working properly. So you can see the same thing again. It's the same. It is very much similar to the earlier one. So the link is now working properly. Now it is asking me, fine. After the link light scheme, the ping should be successful. So this is what we did. So we simulated how PCB is going to connect. If there is a link failure between S3 and R3, PCB is unable to connect. And if everything is well, then PCB has connectivity with the outside world. Now let me go to part 2, where configure the HSRP active and standby routers. For that, if you remember, HSRP is nothing but we create a virtual router type of concept, but we implement the concept of router redundancy. We add a virtual router. We add both R1 and R3 to become a part of that particular HSRP group. Now let me show you how it is done. So first click on R1. First click on R1 and R1. What you need to do is you need to first go into this. So enable configure terminal, enter, and then go into the interface Z0x1. Interface 0x1. It is asking me, now you have to specify the HSRP protocol version number. The most recent version is version 2. So for that, what we need to do is standby version. Okay. Now after that, what you need to do is configure the IP address of the virtual default gateway. Now you go into your table. You can see here it is given. This is the address of the virtual gateway, which belongs to the HSRP protocol. Okay. Now for that, what I'm going to do now is I need to type in standby 1, which is the group number. Please remember that multiple instances of HSRP can be configured on a router. Now you must specify the HSRP group number to identify the virtual interface between routers in a HSRP group. This number must be consistent between the routers in the group. So this one is nothing but the group number. That's what I'm trying to do here. So standby group number 1, and then I need to issue the virtual router's address. So 192.168.1.254. This is the address of the virtual gateway router. Enter. Now this is also done. I have explained about the different states of HSRP. You can see here it is now slowly changing the states. Now first it is in the initialization state. When a interface is added with HSRP, or when an existing configuration of HSRP is added to that interface, it goes through these phases. Now I also told you can see initialize, speak, standby, then automatically it has become the active, because there is no other router in contention during the election phase. It is now currently the active router. Now designate the active router for the HSRP group. If the network administrator wants to manually select R1 to become the active router, then what we need to do is we need to change its priority. The default default HSRP priority for a particular router is 100. But if we want it to become the active router, we can increase the priority. So the higher the priority, it becomes the active router. So for that, we need to enter the command standby, the group number 1, priority 150. That means I'm assigning it the higher priority. Okay. So R1 will now operate as the active router, and traffic from the two LANs will use it as the default gateway. So from the both LANs, LAN 1 and LAN 2, now traffic from both the local area networks will be using R1 as its default gateway. Now it is desirable that the active router resume that role when it becomes available again. So what happens if R1 goes down for some reason? For some reason, if R1 goes down and comes back again, I want R1 to become the active router. In that case, what I will do is, because R1 is now configured with a higher priority, and in case of an election process, always the router with the highest priority wins, or it becomes the active router. So for that reason, what I will do is I need to enter standby 1 preempt. That means I am actually enabling preemption here, so that whenever R1 goes down and comes up again, it forces the re-election process, and it forces the re-election process, so it becomes the active router again. So standby 1 preempt. Okay, that's what I did. What will be the HSRP priority of R3 when it is added to HSRP group 1? As I told you, the default priority is always 100. Now configure HSRP on R3. So let me go into R3 now. Let me go to R3. Okay, we just go into the global configuration mode. Okay, so what I need to do is click the configure R3 as a standby router, configure the R3 interface that is connected to R2. So come here, check it out, which is the interface. And if you remember, this is the interface of Z0 by 0. So the interface of R3 that is connected to LAN 2 is Z0 by 0. So just go here, interface Z0 by 0. Once again, the same commands are to be issued here as well. You can see it is asking me to repeat the steps 1B and 1C. So these two things. So standby version 2, enter. Standby 1 IP 192.168.1.254. This is the IP address of the virtual default gateway router. So press enter. Once again, it also goes through the same stages. Initialize. You will wait for a minute so that you can see what's happening here. What role will R3 take? Now this is done. Actually, it is asking me verify the HSRP configuration. You can actually verify how HSRP is going to work, or whether the commands have been. You can see now after speak, it went straight away to standby, not active, because the priority of R3 is 100, whereas R1's priority is 150. R1 is already acting as an active router, so R3 will become the standby router for this HSRP group. So which we mentioned as group 1. For this HSRP group, R1 is the active router and R3 is the standby router. So let's see whether all the configurations are done properly or not. So first let's check R1. Go to R1 and let me come out, because I need to use the show commands. Show standby. You can see here, if you type in the show standby command, you get this particular output. You can see active router is the local router, that is R1, and the standby router's IP address is 192.168.1.3, which is R3. Priority is 150 because it's showing to me configured is 150, and the group name is HSRP 1. Now let me do the same command on R3 also. Let us see what happens, what you get. Okay, from here, let me go, and then let me come out. Sorry, let me come out and then show standby. Enter. There you go. The priority is 100. It's saying default is 100. The group name is the same one, and the active router is the R1, and it is standby router is local. This R3 is the local router. This is what you get. There are some questions which have been asked here. So let me show you what is what in this. Now, using the output shown above, answer the following questions. Which router is the active router? Which is active router? R1 is the active router. What is the MAC address for the virtual IP address? Now, if you see here in R1 also, you can see the virtual MAC address is this 0000.0c9f.f001. So this is the virtual MAC address. What is the IP address and priority of the standby router? You can see the standby router's IP address is 192.168.1.3 and the priority is 100 because R3 is the standby router, R1 is the active router. Now use the show standby brief command. Okay, we can see that as well. It's a brief thing. You don't get all this information using this command. Show standby brief. I'll just expand this so that you can have a clear view. Now this is how it looks like. The interface is G0 by 1, the group is 1, the priority is 150, the state is active, and local active router is the local router, and the standby router's address is this, and the virtual IP address is this. The same thing we can actually do on R3 also. Let me check on R3 as well. Show standby brief. Once again, you get the same thing. It belongs to the same group, priority is 100, current state is standby, and standby router is the local router. What is the IP address of the active router? This is how it is being done. Now let me move on. So it is asking me observe the HSRP. It is actually asking change the default gateway address of PCA, PCC, S1 and S3. Which address should you use? So any guesses? Now I configured the HSRP for these two routers to act as a virtual router. Now this configuration is used so that all the traffic from these devices which are in LAN 1 and LAN 2 will use that particular virtual router's IP address as the default gateway. So on PCA, what I need to do is I need to close this. I need to go into the IP configuration and I need to add the 192.168.1.254 as my default gateway address. The default gateway address for all these 4 devices must be the same because they belong to the same HSRP group. Let me close this here and then go into the IP configuration and change it as 1.254. Similarly, I need to do the same for S1 and S2 also. So on S1, enable, I need to go into it, configure terminal, IP default, let me use the tab command, 192.168.1.254, enter. Okay, let me do the same thing on S3 also. S3 also, so enable, configure terminal, IP default gateway 192.168.1.254. So I now given everything. So that you can see the completion is 100%, but let me check whether everything is working properly or not. So for that case, what we need to do is asking me open a command prompt on BCB and enter the command. Okay, fine. Go to the command prompt here. Do the same thing that we did earlier. Let me see. Okay. Press root. Now you can see earlier it used to go through the R3, which is 1.3, but now the traffic is going through 1.1. The first hop is 1.1, which is nothing but the R1, because R1 is currently the active router for this configuration. All the traffic from these LANs will now pass through R1. Okay, that is what. Yes, does the path differ from the path used before HSRP is configured? Yes, obviously it is differing. Now it is asking me to break the link. So select the delete tool from packet toolbar and cable connects from R1 to S1. Now it is asking me to remove the path between R1 and S1. Okay, let me do that. And immediately return to PCB and execute the same command again. Observe the output, what you find. So let me remove this. Let me click put escape and then go to BCB, go to command prompt and use the same command again. Okay, so use the same command. Press root to the web browser. You can see it has now gone to 1.3, which is the R3, and it got stuck there. It won't. Has gone stuck there. Okay, so you may observe the output of the command until the command completes execution. You may need to repeat the trace to see the full path. Okay. See, it's not properly showing to us anything. So let it execute. Let it execute. We are trying to ping PCB or from the web server from PCB. Earlier we used to have this, but current now we simulated that there is a link failure. Now let me run the trace again. You can see now it comes very quickly. Now it is showing that it gone through R3, R2 and to the web server via the internet. So you can see here, this is what. How is this trace different from the previous trace? Because previous trace we went through R1 because R1 is the active router. Now R1's gone. R3 has taken over as the active router now. That is what you can see here clearly. Now after that, what else is there? Okay, restore the link to R1. It is asking me restore the link to R1. Okay, I need to go to the black cable here. I need to connect the cable from S1's gigabit Ethernet 0/2 to R1's gigabit Ethernet 0/1 port. And just let me click the fast forward button. Now, what happens to the trace now? If I run the trace again, what will happen? So let me see. Okay, let me see if I run the trace again, which path it is going to take. B. There you go. Now, after that, it has gone through R1 again. You can see earlier it went through R3. Now, because R1 has come up, Now, you might ask me a question. In the earlier module video, I explained that in case of a preemption or when the router goes down and comes up again, only a router which is currently working as the active router will be preempted if the priority is more than that. That means if R1's priority is equal to R3, that is if R1 is also having a priority of 100, then R1 will not become the active router again. Because R1's priority is 150, which is more than R3, because of the preempt command that we have issued on R1. So all the time, at any time, if R1 comes up again, it always will assume the role of the active router. That is what is happening here. Otherwise, if it is of the same priority, R3 might have continued as the active router in this place. So execute a trace, we did the same thing. Which path is used? So now the path used is PCB to R1, then R2, then internet to the web server. If the preempt command was not configured for HSRP group of R1, would the results have been the same? No. Okay, so this is how you actually do the task. This HSRP is quite simple as long as you understand why it is needed and how to configure it. Now the thing here is, even if R1 or R3 fails, if at least one link fails, there is always another router which can provide you the connectivity, or which can provide these hosts, PCA, S1, S3, PCB host connectivity to the outside internet. So with that, this is the module, this is the video where you actually can work with HSRP. Just get on with it. Try to execute the commands, work with the priorities. You can actually implement your own ones also. So thank you very much. I hope you understood this. Thank you. Take care.